Welcome back to the 0.5% Podcast. My guest is the first returning guest that I've been lucky enough to have on the show, but this time with video, the Mayor William T., the South Bay Rocky Balboa. Boom, it's your boy, Will Jones. Welcome to the show, man.
Yo, Nick P. 0.5% Podcast. Boom, it's your boy, Will Jones. You already know what's going down. We are out here. Returning guests. Let's run it. I love it.
Let's do it. So, in case those of you don't know, Will's a fireball, man, and of positive energy, man. So Will spent, very quickly, Will spent 4 years in the US Army, 2004 to 2008. Had a two deployments to Iraq, or one? I can't remember. Correct. Two deployments to Iraq. That's correct. And since then has lived the life of a Renaissance man / superhero, man. So we'll get into all that.
Your words, not mine.
The truth. And Will's an absolute legend rock around the community of South Bay in Los Angeles, and is constantly doing multiple things to help veterans and to stay involved and keep people positive, man. It's been in my own personal life too, been a huge help to me as well. So anyway, Will, man, I'm really happy to have you back on the show and with video this time.
Yep.
So hey, man. So as I mentioned, South Bay, LA. Very quickly, a little bit about where you're from, how you got into the Army.
Grew up Torrance, California, South Bay, Torrance, Redondo Beach, like the whole area. Graduated Torrance High School 2003. I joined the United States Army 2004. Did 2 tours, Baghdad, stationed at Fort Hood, Texas, 1st Cav Division. Got out, and then just, to be honest with you, man, life's just been an adventure. Yeah.
That it has. In your case, definitely so. Okay, and we covered this a bit last time, but obviously your dad also a pillar of the South Bay community as well.
Yes.
And he was U.S. Air Force. How did he feel at the time? Iraq is kicking off. GWAT is kicking off in full. What was your dad's advice to you when you told him you wanted to join the Army at that time?
Really?
Or what did he have to say?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
He was proud, obviously. He made a good decision in life, just go ahead, do what you need to do, all that good stuff, everything a father would say to his son. But yeah, he was very proud of me. Said that multiple times. He wasn't really too thrilled about the Army. He would have preferred the Air Force. But
they got better rations, billets, the whole bit, man. But
hey, he did the Air Force. My older brother, he did the Air Force. So I just wanted to be different.
Right. Yeah. I couldn't see you knowing you like the way I know now. I couldn't see you being comfortable sitting in an air conditioned room or up in a cockpit somewhere. Right. You got to be on the ground pounding it out, man. So
got to be moved. Yeah, absolutely.
So where's basic for you, man?
Basic is Fort Benning, Georgia, home of the infantry.
Anything kind of sticks out to you about that time, man? Anybody that had an effect on you, fellow boots, leaders, anything like that? Or is it just kind of a blur at this point?
No, it's not a blur at all. I will say this, it was epic. Everything I expected, I had the experience.
Okay.
Meaning that I watched a lot of movies. And, growing up, I had the Major Payne, I had the In the Army Now. Like, those are kind of like the pillars of my movie watching experience. And, I had that experience in basic training. Like, both those movies. And then when you watch later on, you have like Renaissance Man, Danny DeVito. What's the other one with the Bill Murray movie? Stripes.
Oh, Stripes. Yeah.
Stripes.
Great movie.
Yeah. Right? Like so that was my military experience pretty much. Right. Like just all of that. And that's kind of just rolled over into regular life now, post-military.
Right. Right.
all the same type of fun, adventure, wild craziness.
Did you have guys that you went through basic with that you later deployed with?
Yes, the answer is yeah. So like half of us from my platoon in basic training, we all went to Fort Hood. Some of them went to fourth ID, others went to first Cav. I was one of the ones that went to first Cav.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I deployed with a few guys I was in basic with.
Okay, so this is '04, man. Like Iraq is kicking off, man. So, did you know that was where you were going, like for early on, or did that kind of come sudden, last minute? How'd that go?
Well, I mean, there was all rumors. Well, I wouldn't say rumors. I mean, it's all basically like, guys, like you're here, you signed up for this, you already know where you're going after this, or you already know what's happening. Like you are going to combat, so you know.
Hmm.
But we just, I guess, didn't know when and where,
Gotcha,
but we knew we
gotcha.
were going.
So, how long after you got to Hood did you deploy the first time?
Maybe I would say probably like a month, somewhere
Oh
like a
wow,
month. Yeah.
so not a
So yeah,
huge
got
workup,
there.
just there.
Yeah, got there in processed and shipped out. So yeah, probably about a month and a half, something like that.
What was your thoughts at the time going there? What were you feeling, thinking?
I get like yeah. I mean, I'm here. I mean, what else can I do? What else? You know what I mean? Just let it
Re-
ride,
Ready to rock and roll.
rip and
Oh,
rip.
so okay, so you touched down in Baghdad, and you guys were, if I remember correctly, were you guys in Sadr City?
That was the second tour.
Second tour. Okay,
Yeah,
first tour
yeah.
is what?
Uh, shit, man. I wasn't as up on the maps as I am now in this day and age,
Right, 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 right.
but where we were at was pretty close. Well, it was in Baghdad,
Okay,
so down near like the Haifa Street. There's a
okay,
big Saddam like supported area or whatever like
okay,
that. Like all the people in the area were like big Saddam people. So
okay.
uh, yeah, I mean it was fun. It's pretty hairy, but a lot of fun.
Well, so yeah, get into a little bit of that. What were your impressions, sights, smells, first touching down? You know you go from South Bay to Texas to Iraq to Baghdad and post
Yeah,
war Iraq, so or post
yeah.
Saddam Iraq. So what were your tell me some impressions?
Definitely the sounds. I mean, yeah, the smells, the burning palms, burning trash. Uh, the sounds, very loud, noisy. But it became very comforting afterwards. You know, uh,
How
having
so?
got acclimated pretty. Well, because when you get into the environment, right, you have the call to prayers. You know, 5 times a day.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, you kind of yeah, you just observe the environment and then all that stuff just becomes comforting afterwards
Like
because,
the
you know,
routine, you know what to expect, kind of thing.
right. So if something was off, you know, you kind of know like, all right, guys, like, you know, it's a little quiet over in this part of the area or, you know, there's not a lot going on over here, you know, like things like that. If that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Like
It does.
because you kind of see the routine of the environment, so when anything changed, you know, like you were pretty hip to it.
Right. Right. Now, did it that first deployment? How long was it?
The first one was like 6 or 7 months.
Now,
I
did
went
that?
over as a replacement, so
Okay.
that's why I was kind of fast tracked on the deployment schedule.
Okay.
Because the other half that didn't get picked to go to fourth ID, they stayed. Like so, you had the half the group from basic went to first Cav and we deployed like right away. The other half went to fourth ID and they were there for like maybe like a year before they deployed.
Okay. 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 And during that first 6 month deployment, uh, kinetic or pretty chill, or what were you doing on a daily basis? What was your life like?
Oh man, I was bottom of the totem pole. Yeah, bottom of the totem pole. It wasn't. I would say the reception wasn't, as warm.
wasn't a, it wasn't a warm welcome.
Wasn't
Gotcha.
a warm welcome. Yeah, yeah. So
All right.
yeah, proved a little difficult, but got through it.
So are you just like take us through a day? You guys doing patrols? Are you doing pulling security detail? Are you getting out into the community a bit in that High Fair Street area? What's it like for you?
Yeah, so it's a mix of all the above. They had different rotations. Some platoons would run gate guard for a certain amount of time, and when you were running gate guard, like that was all you were doing. And then the other platoon would be on like you know uh, patrols, like a patrol schedule, and then like whatever missions were needed or necessary. But the guys that are doing the gate guard for that period of time, that's pretty much all they were doing. And
Okay.
if like shit really hit the fan, and more people were needed, then you could adjust accordingly. But it was, yeah.
And speaking of that routine, being around there, did you get a chance to interact with local Iraqis, food, drink, anything like that that kind of sticks out to you at that time? Kind of any strange situations like that, or that nothing to do with combat at all?
Yeah. So yeah, there'd be days that we would go out and kind of interact, but like I said, I was bottom of the totem pole, so I didn't really personally, have too much interaction. However, on gate guard, we had the big towers, and you're just overlooking the. I don't know how high up we were, but these are like big towers, and little kids would come, so we'd throw them some money. They'd go out and get these like little falafels, these bread. Oh, I love the bread. Yeah. So they'd go out and get us some food and shit like that, and bring it back. There's little holes in the gate that we'd be able to get the food from. So yeah, that was fun. That was
Right, right. Little day to day small details of life,
fun. Oh
man.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just a reminder, even in a crazy kinetic war zone, man. Life goes on, for people, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Business as
Okay,
usual.
so
Just have to
yeah,
adjust.
have to adjust, like you said. You had to adjust to your new environment, and they had to adjust to us being there. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And okay, so did you meet Jeff Morris at this time? Legion, like, was he one of your commanders? Was that the second time through, or
Yeah, the
when?
second time through. So he was with 1-9, but he's with Alpha Company. I was with Charlie Company.
Okay,
And then when we got back, 2005, they were 1-9 went to Fort Bliss, and we stayed at Fort Hood. And we became 1-8, and Jeff Morris was the commander of our platoon, second platoon.
okay.
Or wait, no, excuse me. Our company, Bravo Company.
Oh, right. Okay.
I was second platoon. Yeah. He was, yeah. Bravo Company.
Okay.
And we were
Um,
Legion, Bravo Company Legion 1-8.
which will become something later. But Jeff, the reason I reference him later. But um, so that how long were you home between the first and second deployments?
I would say about a year and a half, roughly.
Okay, and then you're stationed at Hood at this time.
Yeah, Fort Hood, Texas.
Okay. And are you just day to day stuff, training, keeping up, the maintenance, the whole bit, right? Like just pretty mundane at that point, or
Yeah, so when I first got back from the first deployment, a lot of the guys were getting out. There was a lot of readjustment because, like I said, we went from Charlie 1-9 to Bravo 1-8. So they were doing a whole bunch of readjusting. And I was sent to the Bradley School. So I had to do, driving and gunner on the
hmm
Bradleys. So
okay.
we went off and did all that. And this was around the same time that Katrina kind of happened in
Oh, right,
New
right.
Orleans.
That's right.
So we went down there. Like when all that happened, we took a. How did we get down there? I forget how we got down there.
Yeah,
But
but
I
you
know
got
we were
there.
down there. Yeah, we were down there for like a day or two, and then they realized that they didn't need all the people that they had, so they sent us back to finish off the Bradley school, And I remember that ride back because he was in a Chinook. So we rode from a Chinook from New Orleans all the way back to fucking Fort Hood, Texas. It was epic,
I was
epic,
gonna
epic
say,
Chinook ride. Yeah.
great view, right? Like,
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
I hear that. I hear that. So that's
Yeah.
right. You didn't tell me that last time. That's right. I remember that time frame, right? That's right.
Yep.
Right at that time. Um, okay. So, work up to your second deployment. Like, did you, at that point, you had a little more time, you kind of knew that you were going a little bit earlier, or was that, again, like, hey, get ready and
Well,
let's go?
yeah. Yeah. So when we got back, they were like, yeah, you guys are slated for another deployment. So it's just like, all right, well, whatever, let's run it.
Right.
Like it's coming, so let's just do what we got
Let's
to
get
do
ready.
to. Yeah. So after the Bradley school, then we just did regular trainings. We had like training cycles. We went out to NTC, Fort Irwin, California. So we did that, and that was around the time of the 2006 World Cup. So that
Okay.
was pretty epic. We were
Mm-hmm.
sitting there training, trying to catch the fucking soccer games, soccer matches in the chow hall and all this stuff on base. So that was fun. That was a lot of fun. Uh, yeah, and then we had leave, and later that year, boom, right after World Cup, pretty much. That was summer was over, and then headed back to Iraq.
Okay. And so this second deployment put you right a little bit more kinetic at that point and right into the middle of the shit, so to speak. So,
Yeah.
um, talk about touching down the second time back. You've seen the lay of the land now, but you're in a different part of Baghdad proper.
Yes. So in this one we're near Sadr City. So we were between three different bases. We had our main base, Rustamaya. We had kind of like a in between base. Was called Loyalty. And then we had our own compound that was like right on the border of Sadr City, and that was Fob Hope. And we were there. We had some Fijian contractors and other like coalition forces staying there. But yeah, that was pretty much our own little compound, and oh man, it was so fucking epic. Like yeah, it was epic.
So okay, so take us through a little bit when you get into at that point. Obviously, that's a pretty kinetic environment, and you're right in the middle of it. So,
Yeah.
things that stick out to you that you remember. Obviously, you had some rough times in your with your guys. Talk about that time a little bit. How long total was that deployment?
That was 15 months, so we got stop lost.
Stop the yeah.
Yeah, stop loss. That was stop loss time. So yeah, so I ended up doing 15 months. Um,
That's a
and
long pump, man.
absolutely, I had like 1 month leave in between that 15 months, so I was back home. Uh, but during that time, that's when they hit us with all the IEDs, like when the IEDs, roadside bombs, and all that stuff was happening. Was during the '06-'08 deployment,
Okay.
and we had lost 6 guys from one uh one incident pretty much. They got hit with a IED, hit the Bradley, and then the guys went out to check because at the time the standard operating procedure was to kind of get evidence or like just survey the area, try to figure out where these bombs are coming from and all these different types of things. So they kind of got hip to that. They were observing us. And then when the guys got out to go check the blast site, there was a secondary in there and it blew and it killed 4 instantly and 2 died from wounds sustained a
Mm,
few days after that. So
mm,
yeah, so all this happened in March 15th, 2007.
okay. And talk. I think you were back at base at that time when that happened, if I remember correctly. Uh, Talk about how you heard it, how it affected the
Oh,
the
oh.
the
You want
crew.
that
Like,
story?
no, you don't. No, I mean, you don't have. Whatever. You know what I mean. Whatever you want to do. But talk about that a little bit, man. Like, what did what looking back and thinking about it now, what was the effect on your fellow soldiers, you, the whole bit? What were you? What did you thinking at the time?
Yeah. So at the time, like prior to that, like March 14th into March 15th, like overnight, we were just on an all night mission. So we just got back from base or got back to base, and we're trying to figure out, which part of the platoon is going back out to Fob Hope. Like half the platoon, depending on the mission and the rotation and all that, like half the platoon would stay for refit, where we get the vehicles ready and all that stuff we needed to do that we couldn't do out at Fob Hope, right? It was just a rotation like that. So, you know, they're trying to figure out, okay, well, which part of the platoon is staying, which part of the platoon is going, type thing, just rotation type stuff. So, as we're sitting there waiting for that, the chow hall had 24-hour sandwich bar. So we went over there, sandwich, and I love my sandwiches with shitload of mustard. So I'm sitting there eating a sandwich, got mustard all over my face. My boy Ryan Green sitting there making fun of me, like we just having a good time. Sun was rising, like it was just epic, We just all night mission, But once that first light hit, everybody just we're good, Got some food in us, uh, just joking, laughing. Uh, so then they come back. All right, half a tune, stay. This half goes. So Ryan Green, the rest of the boys, they all headed out, and we're all just sitting there chilling, and I'm just walking around outside our little barracks area at the base, and some dude from engineer company comes over, maybe like an hour later or something like that, half an hour later. I'm not too sure. But he comes over and he was asking about somebody in third platoon. But all third platoon, they were out at Fob Hope already. So I was like, yeah, man, like they're not here, third platoon's not here. It's like, oh, I heard over the radio that Legion took some KIAs. I'm like, what do you say? He's like, yeah, Legion Company took KIAs. I just want to see if, homeboy's all right. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, but you got to come back with the whole Legion taking, 4 KIAs type thing, like what are you talking about? Like, yeah, it came over the radio that Legion got 4 KIAs, 2 wounded, So I'm like, all right, well, it's all like disbelief, like this dude was a I outranked this guy, you know, uh, but the information, like it's kind of like okay, well, you kind of have to believe, but you don't want to believe, and you're just like, all right, motherfucker, like, like what you're saying is not really holding weight because of your rank, basically, you know? That's how I was feeling because I didn't want to accept what he was telling me. So I was looking for different ways to kind of, you know, not give credibility to what he was saying. So then I go to one of the E5s, I'm like, hey, this motherfucker's out here talking shit, da 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 da. So he says the same thing to him. I'm like, all right, man, like I'm getting tired of you saying this shit. I'm getting pissed, so the same reaction, from the E5, and now the whole rest of the platoon that stayed is now coming up. There's a big commotion, and Sergeant Cook was in the shower. He's our platoon sergeant, E7. It's our first class, so he starts to come out, and as he's coming out, like I'm hot, because this information this guy just gave me, I'm fucking hot. I'm like, hey man, this motherfucker over here talking shit, So we all go towards him, and I have him repeat the same thing to Sergeant Cook, and he tells him, and while all this commotion is going on, because like I said, like we're all just like we don't want to believe this information, we're all trying to decide what to do with this guy that's over here talking this shit from a different company, like he's an outside, so like all this is going on. And then the E7 from battalion comes over, is like, hey, Sergeant Cook, please get dressed and come with me. And Sergeant Cook's like, nah, man, you just tell me what's going on right here. He's like, yeah, well, you guys took 4 KAs and 2 wounded. They're evacing them right now. So, Sergeant Cook got dressed, went over to the battalion, got all the information, and but after all that happened, like he was just how you say, just gutted. You know what I mean? Like it's just, whew, it's like fuck. Then he comes back and you know, gives us all the information, all the details about everything that happened. Um, yeah, man, it got real. And then later that night, we had the heroes flight where they took the bodies out of the morgue, flag draped coffins, threw them on the Blackhawks, and flew them out of there. We all had a standing formation. It was very, very, yeah. It was a sober and somber moment.
Right, right. Like you said, it got real. And
Yeah.
did you notice kind of a before and after moment within the platoon after that, or within the larger group after that? Did you take it a
Yeah,
little more?
we didn't play nice after that. We didn't play nice after that, you know,
Right, right,
because that
right.
let us know a few different things, let us know that they were watching us, like they were setting up ambushes, like they were setting up, like, so they kind of like threw their hand, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
so now our whole, uh, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Our whole like game plan changed. Everything changed like after that. Like we didn't take any more chances. I
Yep.
mean, we still got hit. They were still dropping bombs on us, roadside bombs hitting us with all that shit. But we hit back twice as hard,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we got a little bit more aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
yeah,
And so, and for you personally, do you look back on that moment as kind of a before and after moment for yourself? Or was it just part of kind of just the flow of being there for 15 months, you know?
yeah. I mean, I think it was the flow, but at the same, it's a little bit of both because somebody that you just been with very close, fucking almost every day for the last however many years, suddenly, it's kind of just gone. And I mean, it could have been any one of us,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, definitely changes perspective on a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Um, and then how far is that into the 15-month deployment? Where does that sit in the timeline?
kind of like
Of
right in the first 6 months.
Okay, okay. So after that, you're just you're doing your regular rotation for the next 15 months, right? So
Yeah.
security patrols, albeit
Mm-hmm.
more aggressive,
Yeah.
and all that. And then did you like we mentioned Jeff? Any leaders, fellow soldiers, anything like that? That kind of stick out to you? Anything else that kind of sticks out to you at that time? You get close with some guys, or you're specifically, or whatever comes to your mind for the rest of that deployment.
Yeah, there is one thing that comes to mind. So this is earlier on in the deployment. Um, I'm sitting there. There's a um, radio. One of our boys got shot. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and it was my boy Raymond Ramirez. Right, he gets shot. So all that happens, but they're like, oh, it's a through and through. He'll be fine. They bring him back. So they bring him back. He's over in the hospital. He's got, like I said, through and through. Kind of hit him like right here in the shoulder thing. Like in the little trap muscle or whatever. So boom, he gets back. I go see him in the hospital. Hey man, how can I make you a little bit more comfortable? You want me to go grab, video games or, something, whatever. So he gives me a list. So I go back to his room, I start collecting the stuff, from the list, little PlayStation, TV, DVDs, like all that, whatever, like all that stuff. So as that's happening, so as all that's happening, right now, where this is 2006. uh this might be early 2007, right? um and like Amazon was good. I think Amazon would deploy to us, they would deliver to us, and then people would send us care packages and all this stuff. But there's just a few certain things that were like from home that you really couldn't get, and one of them was a huge bottle of tapatio hot sauce.
Right, right, right.
It's just one of those, yeah, It's one of those things. So he had it sitting on the thing. Well, as I'm getting all the stuff, I knocked the big ass bottle of Tapatio over. Oh,
Some major violation, flagrant 2 foul, man.
absolutely. I said, fuck. So I cleaned it up. I cleaned it up. I finally get back to him. He's like, yo, man, what took so long? I'm like, yo, I'm like, so I got all your stuff. Here it all is. I'm just gonna have to owe you a bottle of Tapatio sauce. He's like, what the fuck did you do with my Tapatio? I'm like, bro, I accidentally knocked this shit over. So to this day, I still send him pictures every time I go to a restaurant. There's a bottle of Tapatio. I always send him pictures. He knows he's never gonna get that bottle of Tapatio back, but
It's funny the things that it's funny the things that become important, man, when you don't have them. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Same. I same when I was in Asia and in the Europe, and you can't get good Mexican food over there at all. So
Oh yeah.
I had my mom send me a Tapatio, little sriracha,
Oh yeah.
certain sauces, all these things that you miss that you just don't. You know what I mean? Like it's just funny how that goes.
Yep.
That's funny, man. That's funny. Needless to say, Raymond made a full recovery, and he's back rocking and rolling.
Absolutely.
Nice.
I still have a outstanding bottle of Tapatio on the books.
I was gonna say, man, you still owe that dude, bro. All right. So, okay. So once that deployment ends, did you always know you were just going to do 4 and done? Did you ever consider doing the 20? What was your thinking? Did that change as through the 4 years?
Going into it, I was always just planning just do it one and done. I really didn't.
Okay.
I really wasn't looking to what's the word?
Make a career out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just for me, just to go off and do.
Yep. All right. So did you have and so that gets us to the the post army civilian life of the Mayor William T. I call him the mayor because everybody in the South Bay knows Will Jones. Everybody. So I've run into people and third parties and in the lines in grocery stores. And, do you know Will Jones? He's the mayor, man. This guy knows everybody. So
I appreciate you. Thank you.
He's had a fucking epic. Will's had a fascinating post-army life, to say the least, man. First stop is the film school thing. I think, if I remember correctly, you spent some time in the Philippines. There's some footage, some great footage of actor William Jones in the Philippines. being a romantic lead and doing commercials with pretty Filipino girls, and Will's done it all, man.
I'm living the movie, Like I said, my experience in the military, those was just based on all the movies I watched growing up.
Right.
My post-army career or my post-army life has just been based on the movies I've watched.
So what was the impetus? You did the GI Bill to do some film school, and they had an option for you to go overseas, if I remember correctly. So why the Philippines? And talk about the Philippines.
Yeah. So here we go. Yeah. So after I got out, I had a pretty I guess transition wasn't as easy.
Why do you say that?
Well, so as I mentioned earlier, like you with these guys, right? Like you're pretty much never alone for the whole time you're in the military. Well, in my experience, I'm combat MOS, 11 Bravo, like you're always with somebody from your unit, basically, whether in garrison or in combat, right? Like you're never really alone. And and I guess what I mean by that also is everybody's on the same schedule. So when you leave from there and you come back home and try to transition back into the civilian life, where civilian life, not everybody in the environment is on the same schedule, if you will. You
Yep.
know, like
Hmm.
everybody's got their own lives. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like you know, parents still have jobs, brothers and sisters have school, or they've got jobs, and everybody's doing something different. You know, to where prior to that, like everybody was on the skate. I was never alone.
Hmm.
So when I get back and after the the honeymoon phase of being back is over, it just becomes quiet and lonely and isolated. Uh, so I did my best to find things to keep me going. Uh, it's like I will say one thing throughout all this, man. God has always just been there, having my back. Like there's stories I could talk about from being in Iraq and even just before Iraq, and it's even now to this day. But God has always been there, always kind of guided me through everything. Uh, and He uses a lot of people. So at the time, I had my stepbrother. He lived around the corner, and he's like, "Hey, man, just come over whenever, just come over." So he provided uh, a spot for me to just kind of go and get some of the same camaraderie that I had, in the military. He had a roommate, so he kind of very similar to what deployment life would be like, where everybody, all comes together like the end of the day or after the deploy or after the mission or whatever. We all just kind of just shoot the shit, watch movies, play games, Uh, yeah, so did all that.
That's something, by the way, that I asked that question because it's common in all people who after they transition out, um,
Yeah,
that kind of loss of sense of camaraderie, brotherhood, sense of mission,
yeah,
etc. It's just a common. It's such a common theme, especially if you were, and like you said, in a combat MOS, and you went from high speed to all of a sudden civilian life, which, like you said, is isolating and low
yeah.
speed, as it necessarily
Hmm.
should be. But yeah, that transition is a bit tough. So and that leads, I mean, knowing you now, I didn't know you then, but knowing you now in the last few years, man, you've dedicated your entire life to recreating that sense of mission and brotherhood and camaraderie. And you've done it successfully along with Matt and Mario and, James and
Yeah.
Ryan, all those Fernando, all those guys, man. Yeah, anyway, so you got that at that time, how long before film school became a thing and then overseas?
Yeah, so film school became a thing like a year, I would say, uh, maybe like a year and a half after I got out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that became a thing because through the transition, I was, just I would say wandering mindlessly, but I got into a little bit of trouble. Very very
Mm-hmm.
small, very very, you
Right.
know.
Right,
Like I
right,
say,
right.
God's sitting there shepherding me, so I didn't get too far out of the boundary lines. So yeah, and then uh one day I'm sitting there. I was like, "Yo, I got out of the military, to go be in the movies, so I need to start doing some of that shit." And I got involved with an organization in LA, Film Independent. They did the LA Film Festival. I got involved with them, and then from there, I met somebody. He's a producer, and he was. I actually met a guy that was doing a whole bunch of commercials, and one of his friends was a producer, and talking and running down my story and what it was that I wanted to do and everything, and he was like, "Well, shit, military, you just got out of the army. Well, don't you have the GI Bill? You could, I think UCLA Extension has a program that accepts the GI Bill film program." So the next day I looked into it and boom, signed up and did that for like 2009 to 2011. And during that time there, I met another Army combat veteran, and he had told me about a film school in the Philippines that took the GI Bill. So, I mean, the whole time I'm in Baghdad, I always dreamed about living on the islands.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hey, slam dunk, let's fucking go. And I went, and man,
How
epic,
how
epic, epic
how long
adventure.
total in the Philippines did you spend?
I would say about 2 years total.
Okay.
Two
Okay.
years
Yeah,
total.
yeah, yeah. Good. You got a
So
really a chance to get to live it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Cause like I was there for like 15 months total, and then I had to keep going back every few months. Yeah.
Cool.
So I mean,
Very
yeah.
cool.
So life has been one wild, 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 amazing adventure.
Well,
You know.
and so you get you do the film school thing for a while. You get a chance to travel, see the world, and you're back home in LA. And you let's fast forward to where you run into Matt Pesh, operational athlete, and now to what that's become, which is Matt started an organization called Ruck for Vets,
Yeah.
VFW 2828 local here in Redondo,
Oh
very
yeah.
involved in a lot of things. And Matt's reached out and really touched a lot of lives as well, just like you have. And it's kind of steamrolled into a much bigger thing where you guys are, big in the community and helping out a lot of vets, man. So talk about first meeting Matt and then how it's led to what it is now.
Yeah. So, uh, yeah, I'm trying to find the word. I guess historically, I don't know. Uh, but like every year around the bird months,
Mm-hmm.
September, October, November, December, uh, I'll going through this like little depression type phase.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, uh, you know, I mean, it could be many different reasons why, but I go through it and I try to find different ways to bring me out of it. Well, one particular year, the year in question, as you so I come across the tactical games. I don't know if it's from Instagram, YouTube, somewhere on the internet. Tactical games. I'm like, oh, this shit looks fucking cool. I mean, at the time, I was avid CrossFitter. I CrossFit almost every fucking day, and this was a CrossFit competition with guns, basically. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this sounds fucking epic. Spartan race with guns. Like, yeah,
Right.
let's do
Right.
it.
Sign me up.
You're right. It's like this is what I did in basic training. So I went ahead and uh, started researching, and I'm sitting there getting my hair cut by the boy Daniel down the street here in Torrance, and I was telling him about the tactical games, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you got to meet with my boys, Matt Petch. He's special forces. Da da da." I'm like, "All right, cool." So I looked at his profile. I was like, "Yeah, man, just hit him up on Instagram." I'm like, "Oh, that's are you sure, man? This dude look a little scary, like, you know, very, very intense. You see his profile, very fucking intense, and I'm not that intense.
Right. Right. Yeah, you guys' personality is very different for sure.
I'm like, yeah, man, just tell him so I hit him up, and the first part was, and this is all, I think the end of 2019 is when all this happened. So then, 2020 rolls around, this early part of it, and we're trying to pick I was working uh, at a tennis club uh, up here with Tennis Power Academy in PV in Rancho Palos Verdes Peninsula Racket Club. So I was working up there, and at the time they were doing their workouts on Fridays, beach workouts on Fridays. But I had a class that I was running at the racket club, so I couldn't make it. And then all the shutdowns happened,
Mm-hmm.
and So later on in the year, we reconnect, and the workouts have changed to Tuesdays. And I'm like, oh, I can make a Tuesday workout. Well, I mean, at the time, everything is shut down, so like I was pretty much open schedule. So we said, fuck it. We went out to the beach, started doing these beach workouts. So I went there on Tuesday, Matt and Eddie, and we started. When I say this dude's intense, right? This dude's intense. I'm used to like CrossFit workouts. Uh, I guess not special force Green Beret fucking beach workouts. So I show up, right? I'm like, for me, just regular Army infantry guy. It's like, but at the same time, like like I hit up Daniel. Daniel, reached out to, like I kind of use his name, so I can't make him look bad. Like, why you sending this dude over here?
Right.
So pretty much, like, I had to pretty much show up and show out. Like, I had to prove myself. So I get there. He's like, yeah, we can do a quick little warm up run and get into a circuit. I'm like, all right, cool. So we get there, warm up run. Uh, the warm up one ends up being 5K.
Right.
I'm thinking, one lifeguard tower. He just kept running. I'm like, fuck, man, I got to keep up. So at that time, like, I just, whatever switch I had to turn, I just had to turn the switch and just go. And then after the workout, like, I'm dead. I'm tired. I'm just, man, I can't. Whoa, wait, what just happened? So from there, I'm like, you know what? I got to do more of these. It's just so I could make Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
So then, free the homie crowd Thursday happened, and then and then Sundays happened, and then it became every day, and then, but Tuesdays just became the meeting place for everybody, because like there was some Tuesdays where we had like 20, 30 people out there.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because at the time, everybody's out of work or shit like that, like whatever.
Right.
So,
right.
we had a big, we had so many big groups out there. It was just, it was epic. And through that, the whole Ruck for Vets, right? Like, because he was already doing it. I had went out in August, and then Ruck for Vets happened that November. So this is like my first Ruck for Vets event, November 2020. And went, had a fucking epic time, and just started getting more and more involved in that, and yeah, it's grown into what it's grown into now, like.
And for those who don't know, Ruck Vet's a charity organization. Through obviously rucking,
yes.
But you got to get the plug. But I'll no, you're good. Of course, I'll link it up. It's Matt's organization, but he's got a bunch of guys involved, a bunch of Army, Marine, all of the above guys involved. VFW 2828's been a help. The Elks, everybody, and you guys do twice yearly kind of rucks, Veterans Day. And I'm drawing a blank. I go to them every year. What's the other one?
So Memorial Day and Veterans Day.
Memorial and Vets. That's right.
Yeah.
So twice a year they do a big ruck, and it's really grown, man. I've the last couple of years, man, it's gotten a couple hundred people out, and people from around the country come, and it's just mainly getting vets connected with each other, getting them rucks if they need it, but just through activity, keeping vets a lot of contact points to keep vets involved and not isolated. Back to what you said when you first separated from the military, not isolated, kind of a sense of community, and it's involved the civilian community, people like myself who didn't serve, things like that, and we've all gotten involved. But that's just through the energies of Matt and Will and Fernando, Ryan, Mario, all these guys that have gotten involved, and it's really kind of grown into a cool thing, man. That everybody knows about, and a lot of people participate. And it's also, as I told Will and Matt, there's a lot of people in the civilian world that want to have a way to contact vets and help them, because but just don't know how, and so this is kind of a way to do that.
Absolutely. Like it's growing, it's evolving. We're getting so many people involved with us, like you just mentioned. Through the beach workouts. I mean, like the beach, like that brings people together.
Sure does. Sure does.
Like, it brought us together.
That's right, man.
Like me and Matt got everything, man. Like it's just all revolves around the beach, and we like to say that we're combating mental health through physical fitness, right? Like Ruck for Vets, and helping veterans one ruck at a time, and like my little thing I like to say is the ocean heals.
Yep.
Because, like just being in the ocean, being out in nature, like it really does something. It really does something inside, kind of just I mean, look, you live across the street from the beach. So
there's a reason I moved over here, man. I interact with that water every day, man. So one way or another, man.
Yeah,
Yep.
for some people it's the mountains, others the desert, you have the beach, like for me it's the beach,
Yep.
obviously. I grew up around it, and it is just my relationship with the beach and the ocean has just grown through all of this. And through all the different connections that I've made, through Matt, Ruck Crevettes and all this stuff. Like you said, it's a nationwide thing, worldwide thing. Um, and all the different organizations, because it's a community. It's all about building community. That's what this whole thing is about, you know.
Yep.
Community being the key, you know. Oh, and then and the support, the love, the abundance of love and support is top notch. Like you were saying, there's a lot of civilians that want to reach out and help, and they have been doing a tremendous job of reaching
Hmm.
out and helping. Um, and it just continues to grow. It's just such a beautiful thing because at the end of the day, we all want to stay connected.
Hmm.
We all want to, yeah,
And the
we want to stay
and the beach
connected.
is such an awesome way to do it too, because it's
Yeah.
healthy, it's outside, people, it's
Mm-hmm.
like that. I'm one of the workouts I do Sundays with Will sometimes, man. There's that one guy that just came up and he was like, "Man, I've been through every sort of therapy. I was in, I don't know
Oh
if you remember
yeah,
this guy, but
yeah,
he's like,
yeah. I
yeah,
do.
man, I
I
had
remember
alcohol
him.
problem, drug problems." He's like,
Yep.
and all I had to do was just go swim in the ocean, man. He's like, it's free therapy. You know what I mean? All that money
Yeah.
I spent,
Yeah.
it was right there the whole time. So that always stuck with me because that's true for me, man. No matter what my day's
Same.
like, I go see that water, man. My blood pressure goes down. I go jump in the water. I get even calmer.
Oh
And
yeah.
to further than that, to Will's point, man, when Will says that he's involved with the ocean and the ocean heals, he's involved with the ocean, man. He's done sailing, and the organization I believe is Sail Ahead.
No, warrior sailing.
Oh, Warrior Sail. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There we go. Warrior Sailing. I apologize.
Warrior sailing. There it is.
That's right. Sailhead's another one for Fran Rashopi, I think. But anyway, Warrior Sailing, which you've done a couple events with in San Diego and in Utah, and
Yep.
you also dive local dive and surf. Will's got certified master diving in Hawaii last year,
Yeah.
or a couple months back, and then so diving, surfing, paddleboard. I mean, you do it all, man, and you're
Yes.
involved in the beach at
Yes.
all. And then on top of that, in the last couple of years, you did I think it was what was the Arkansas University where we met. Shout out to Jose
Yes.
Berlin.
Yes. Yes. Jose.
Jose, shout out to Jose,
Jose,
great
baby.
dude, former guest and great
Oh yeah.
artist, Army
Yeah.
vet Jose Berlin. But what was that
Yeah.
University of?
University Health and Performance.
That's right. That's right. So you did that. So there's a ton of organizations, man. And then also your Alpha Elite guy. Talk a little bit about it, man. All the different vet organizations.
Oh, see, it's a beautiful thing. Alpha Elite Performance. Use code Boom15 to check out. This is my daily thing right here. The Pipe Hitter XP pre-workout. You already know it's going down. But check this out.
Product placement.
Product placement. You already know. Oh yeah, and the shirt. Don't forget the shirt. Like so.
Yep.
But yo, man, let me tell you, life is amazing. Life is crazy. Life is just epic, right? Because through all these organizations, through all these things, like I say, when people want to help, right? This community, it's like, yo, like I need something. Let me reach out to the community. Somebody will either have it or know somebody else that does,
Mm-hmm.
and that's been true of everything, right? So like, ah, man, it's just so much. It's so much to unpack, so much to to unload. But yes, Alpha League Performance been, great relationship with them. They support everything that we do. They're out of Montgomery, Texas. Veteran-owned company. Travis, Emily Wilson, Travis Green Beret. So yeah, I through that, I've done many events with them. We did an event out here, Fins and Fairways,
Mm-hmm.
through Real Warriors Foundation, and what
That's
they
right.
do is they help veterans, fish, right? Like fishing is a big thing, bring mental health. So boom, fishing. And Alpha Elite Performance, they started their own thing, Alpha Elite Outdoors, and they take veterans on different trips all over the world. You know, uh, FitOps, which turned into University Health and Performance, is a fitness one, right? So you go there, you get your personal trainer certification, right? And I went to both of the camps, and is fucking epic. Like the instructions top notch, and I've taken what I've done from there, and I run all the beach workouts. With Rucker
Yes, you
Vets,
do. I was on the
and
ones when you first got back from that. Those weren't fun. You were you came back from that university and shredded us all, man. I
I
can
love
attest
it.
to
I love
that.
it. Yes, yes. So it's like, so everything just all runs hand in hand because, like like through the military, like all these different connections because you have so many different walks of life, so many different people. So, like I still use that to this day. GI Bill with the film school. I was able to do that, and through that, I got involved with scuba diving in the Philippines, to where now, like that's been, I work as a dive master here at the local dive and
Hmm.
surf, and scuba diving was a real big um, something that really helped me,
Hmm.
with the whole mental health and the transition, PTSD, and all that stuff. To where now, with Ruck for Vets, and we've got a relationship with Dive and Surf, and they've just been epic and awesome. To where now we're starting to run veterans through open water certification,
All right.
like be like sponsored, right? Like
Hmm.
at no cost to the veteran, with open water scuba diving classes, and we're able to do all that, and it's just been epic. And then with Warrior Sailing now, like so now I'm getting ready to go to Miami and do the coastal cruising course with them. So first
Hmm.
I did the basic, sailboat, and then I did the 101, and now I'm on the 103, American Sailing Association, through Warrior Sailing. And what that's helping me to do is get my 6-pack boat captain license.
And I'm glad you went through all that, through all of the different ways in which you've been able to stay involved in all the different organizations that help vets and all that stuff because someone's watching, someone's listening that may feel a little bit isolated, don't know how to get involved, but there are a lot of resources. And
Yes.
as you will say, as Matt will say, as any of these guys that we know, reach out. You know what I mean? If you need help, reach out and just shoot somebody a message. And there's just all these different resources to get involved. Um, as you guys have had, and you guys have built your own support network, community infrastructure out here as well. So there's a lot of
Absolutely.
contact points. And then looking back, speaking of, talk a bit about Jeff and Legion 8, kind of how they keep that memory alive. I think you went down to an event in Texas recently or a while back. Talk a bit about that. He wrote a book, same thing, just to kind of keep that alive. What he's done with the guys you served with.
Yeah, so Jeff Morris, my commander, 2006, 2008 deployment. He did write a book. You have the book.
I do
I
have it.
can't show it right now because you have it.
I've read. I'll link it up, Jeff. I'll link it up. I've read it, and I would love to connect with Jeff. Speaking of, but yeah, I'll put a plug in there.
But yes, it's a great book. Talks about the boys on that deployment. Talks about just other things. But yeah, so we would go out and do every year, called the Freedom Fest in Waxahachie, or Red Oak, Texas. Red Oak, Texas. It's where Sean Ryan Green, his family, they would host us. So a lot of the guys would go out there, kind of be like a little reunion spot. Um, and I mean, it was epic. It's like, I think it's important, right? The keep the memories alive, and to keep us from isolation.
That's right.
So by doing these things, having these community type events, it like I said, it isolation kills. So if you can find a community, and the community is out there, whatever community you're looking for, whatever you're into, like it's out there. You just have to, do a little searching for it. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'll find it.
Yeah.
If your thing is, whatever it is, whatever your thing
Mm-hmm.
is, like there's a community around
There's a community for vets, yeah.
it.
And
Yeah.
you got problems, you got substance abuse, whatever. You need to dig yourself out of a hole. There's support for that as well. Just to
Yeah.
get you back on track, man. You know.
Because I mean, I would like to believe, like, we all want to help, right? I like to believe that we all have a big heart, and we see ourselves in others. So I also like to believe that we want to treat others the way that we want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
So, if there's like an issue, if there you got a problem, like I said, like if I can help, then I will. If I know somebody that can help, well, I'm definitely gonna send you in that direction. So, like I said, and that's with anything, with finding a community. If you're having problems with something, like I mean, that's what the community is for. That's what it's around. But at the same time, you know, you have to let people know how they can help or what the issues are, and different things like that. I mean, we're our own worst enemy. You know what I'm saying? Like that
Mm-hmm.
little voice in our head that kind of, talks us out of doing certain things. What I mean by that is not like talks out doing certain things like putting ourselves out there, being vulnerable. You know, uh, not the bad things. Like we need that voice to keep us out of doing the bad things.
Yeah.
But just like if there's an event going on, or if there's a workout, or if there's just anything, it's like, hey man, just show up.
Just taking a chance. Just taking a chance to introduce yourself. You know what I mean, or
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You
Putting
know,
yourself out there a little bit. You know.
yeah. Now I got to be better at this. I really do. Uh, but uh, like, sometimes, well, I'll see people out there and they'll be wearing like some sort of military type thing or something like that, and some people, I'll approach, other people I don't, so I say I need to get better at that. But I mean, it's like you said, it just starts with a hello, putting yourself out there, introducing yourself, uh, and that's how I feel like we could reach more and more people, you know.
Yep. Yep.
uh
Yep.
see somebody with any type of military type shirt on, it's like, hey man, how you doing, what's going on, what you got going on, and we're part of this organization over here, or have you heard of this? Have you heard of that? There's a lot of events going on, like Team Red, White, and Blue. They do a lot of stuff. I've been to a few of their surf camps out here in Malibu, and yeah, I mean, just get involved, because you'll find something for you. There's golf organizations. There's fitness and mental health organizations. Project Resilience. And then you have,
Oh
like
yeah.
I said, the golf is 42
42
mic
millimeter,
mic.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So and through that, yeah, it's they have the activity, but it's more so about the connection.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Finding different things to live for. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, yeah, and everybody in the community, like, we're all just helping each other. I mean, there's an abundance of anything and everything out there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. And then and Will Jones spearheads a lot. That's why I call him the mayor, man. The guy said he's on a mission from God to spread positivity, dudes, because that guy has a smile on his face always, and you go
hey,
anywhere, you can't walk 5 feet out here, man, without somebody knowing Will Jones. So
think
and a
you're
smile, man.
exaggerating a little bit. You're
No,
exaggerating a little bit.
not at all. Ask anybody that knows you. Shout out to Choo Choo Express, Tommy Toggins. He knows it. Everybody, anybody who knows Will knows that, and that's in the best. In the best way possible, man. Because everybody I talk to always, oh man, Will, what a great person. He's got a smile on his face. I always feel good when I talk to him. So
Hey,
that's
look,
your superpower, dude.
well, thank you. It's like, I
That's your
can't
superpower, man.
take credit for it. God told me to make people smile and laugh. So
You look back on in your Army career and say, man, I'm proud of that, or what sticks out to you in that in your 4 years in the service and your 2 deployments, and what are you proud of that time? What did it do for you?
I'm proud of everything. I'm
Hmm.
proud of all of it. There's this song, as you're saying that, this song popped in my head. Ziggy Marley, "The Good Old Days."
Right.
Like everything about that song, talks about the past. Like, yeah, those were the good old days. But now in this moment, we're living in the good old days, or these will become the good old days in the future. So, yeah, so I look back on all that with a very positive mindset. Um, like the legacies will live on. You know,
Hmm.
all the guys, Legion 8, and even ones that we lost after service. Like it just all lives on, and
Mm-hmm.
it lives on like through us, you know, we're all hurting some way or another on a daily basis. So we just need that connectiveness, that community to help us heal
Mm-hmm.
in whatever way that we can. So uh, yeah, I'm proud. I'm happy. Uh, yeah, pretty fucking stoked. It's an epic adventure. Um, does that answer the question?
That does answer the question. That does answer the question. Cool, man. Well, hey, Will, as usual, brother, always good to talk, and I'm glad we got a chance to do this again. My first
Yes.
repeat guest. I appreciate you putting up with me
No, I
twice, man.
appreciate you. No, thank you.
And
Like say the same to you. You know.
nah, dude. And like I said, I'll link up everything. Ruck for Vets, workouts. If anybody's in LA wants to come
Yeah.
join a beach workout, hit
Let's
up
do
Will.
it.
He'll do it. And all the other organizations I'll link up to. Will, thank you so much, man, for your
Thank you,
time
Nick
and
P.
for
Appreciate you.
sharing your experience, man.
Oh yeah, Nick P. Happy Podcast.
All right, Will. See you on the beach, dude.
Most of them. How this your boy and we are. Peace. Choo ha.